Hello, friends. Welcome to the 12th annual meeting of Impact100 Philadelphia. I'm Carolyn Ashburn, co-president, and I look forward to introducing Madge Rothenberg, my co-president, to you later in the evening. Welcome to our members, the 2020 grantees, and our guests. We're so excited you can be with us tonight as we celebrate many records. We have a record grant pool this year. A record number of women have been involved in the grants review process. A record number of members voted this year, and we have a record registration for an annual meeting. It's heartwarming to see that all of this has happened in a most unusual year. What we hope is not unusual tonight is in any way the tech side of the meeting. This is the first time we have hosted a Zoom meeting for several hundred people. Our tech team, all volunteer, has worked for many hours on the meeting. Still, we know there might be some glitches, and we hope that you will bear with us if this happens. The meeting is being recorded. You can have your video cameras on or off as you prefer. And on for the program. Tonight, you will hear directly from our 6th finalist. And I know that is a time that you have all been anticipating. But before we go to that, I first want to comment about two significant issues that affect all of us. One, we still find ourselves fighting COVID-19. And I just want to say a big thanks to the many essential workers and to our healthcare providers, some of whom are Impact members, for their service to us. And we truly appreciate with gratitude all that they do. Secondly, this is a terrible time for us all. This past weekend, we in Philadelphia and in other cities experienced peaceful protests turning into chaos and destruction in our cities, and in Center City, West Philadelphia, and all around us. And even before this happened, we were wondering what we can do to root out racism and how can we stop it? Will we ever be able to root it out? I share the words from one of our Founders Fellows, which I found very helpful. She said that she appreciates what we are doing as Impact100 with the formation of our DEI, Diversity, Equity, Inclusion Committee. She added, and I quote, "If there is any advice I can offer in moving forward, it is to dig deep and do the hard work of identifying and confronting the root causes of the issues we face as an organization, a philanthropy, and women of a certain socioeconomic level in Philadelphia. It will be hard work, and it should be hard work." And Sydney, I thank you for that. I believe that taking on this work is essential. I believe we will do it together, and you will be hearing much more from our DEI committee in the year ahead. And you can see on the slide our volunteers. We have a very capable group of women helping guide us through the DEI process. And thank you to all of you for taking us there. Now, in years past, this has been the day that members voted and you learned about the size of the grant amounts. This year, as you know, we voted in advance. On Friday, we told you all the results of the vote, and you might think the element of surprise is gone. However, I want to assure you that it is not. We have a wonderful, wonderful surprise for you at the end of this meeting. Now, let's share a toast. Do you have the Stir Crazy or other drink handy? Our creative programs and annual meeting co-chairs, Eve Prensky-Rowe and Nancy Gottlieb, sent out a recipe in advance. The recipe is courtesy of Carly Sukonic-Fink, daughter of Impact member Sue Sukonic. And if you have that drink in your hands or any others, please raise your glass for a toast. And I need to get mine handy here. Everybody ready? This is to you, Impact100 Philadelphia members, for a record grant year for $424,000 to go to the community to 6 finalists. This is to acknowledge and honor your commitment to the community and your passion for making a difference in this community and for doing it together. So here is to you, here is to us. And as always, we had some big decisions to make in the grants review process, and our grants leaders, our members who were involved in the focus area committee process rose to the occasion. But I also want to thank and acknowledge those members who were not able to participate in the process or chose not to. Your help is also invaluable to us, and we appreciate your membership because we certainly could not have done this without you. Nor could we have managed the grants process without extraordinary efforts by Toby Gang and Renee Applegate, our grants co-chairs, Mary Broach, communications chair, Denise Horan and Alice Hausman, nonprofit liaison co-chairs, Eve and Nancy, who I mentioned a moment ago. They have many more talents than just providing us with the drink recipe, and our administrator, Carrie Sundermeyer. I would like to thank the entire board for work above and beyond this year. Record-breaking years in the midst of large-scale change do not happen accidentally. They are accomplished only with incredibly hard work on the part of many people. So Madge and I so appreciate working with this board. And then on July 1st, a new board takes over, thankfully with many of the same people in key leadership positions and some new people to help us along. Suzanne Wilcox will join me as co-president. So we are ready to go. At this time, I'd like to give special recognition to our key sponsor, Independence Blue Cross. Independence Blue Cross has been our sponsor for the past 6 annual meetings. We are very grateful to them for being community partner with us. It is now my pleasure to introduce Toby Gang, Grant's co-chair, and she has some words for you before we move on to the program.
Good evening and thank you. I'm Toby Gang, and along with my co-chair, Renee Applegate, we chair grants. What this means is that we organize and run the process by which our committee members are trained, read letters of inquiry, review proposals, and ultimately select the 6 finalists to receive grants. This year, as you've heard, a record-breaking 451 women joined Impact 100. And more than 220 of them participated in the grants process. So how does the selection process work? At the start of this year's grant cycle, Impact 100 received 205 letters of inquiry across our 5 focus areas. Of those 205, our letter of inquiry, or LOI committees, reviewed and selected 70 organizations who were invited to submit full proposals. Those 70 nonprofits were reviewed by our 14 focus area teams, who chose 36 of those organizations for additional discussion at team meetings. In ordinary years, these organizations would have had site visits. From the 36, following further review and discussion at virtual focus area meetings, 6 finalists were selected to receive significant grants this year. The women who joined the focus area committee process were led by a terrific group of leaders: focus area chairs, team leaders, financial review chairs, and financial review members assigned to assist the evaluation for each committee. Not only did these women run the 5 committees and 14 teams, but they remained flexible and enthusiastic as we adjusted the grants process again and again to reflect the impact of COVID-19 on the nonprofit community. We'd like to extend a huge thank you to the women who led our 5 focus areas: Arts and Culture, Amy Knorr; Education, Rachel Levin; Environment, Alice Berman; Family, Tara Eckert; Health and Wellness, Jessica Justice Vogt, ran the 5 large committees. Under our chairs, we had 14 team leaders who managed the small groups of women evaluating proposals. Our financial review panel was supported by Barb Reniger and Denise Rainier, and under their guidance were 12 FRPs, or financial review panelists, who conducted the financial review process that ensures that we award grants to worthy recipients of our funds. We also worked from July through May with a grants planning committee who act as a sounding board, offering feedback and help us implement the many details of running the grants process. They assist with documentation, logistics, training, and participate in meaningful discussion to help us make our process work. Thank you to everyone who enabled us to manage the grants process and select our finalists. As promised, we will now hear directly from this year's grantees. Please welcome Denise Horan, one of our nonprofit liaison co-chairs, who will introduce the grantees. You can't do it.
Sorry. Thank you, Toby. I'm honored tonight to introduce our exceptional 2020 Impact 100 grantees. It is wonderful to hear from our 6 finalists directly. As you've heard others discuss, this has been quite a year of adjusting and readapting normal Impact 100 processes. And for the grantees and for all of our nonprofit applicants, it's been an even more challenging time. From moving music and writing lessons online, to increasing food allocation for a greater number of families, or adding services for underserved communities. This year's winners have shown exceptional resilience and increased commitment to their communities. With a big congratulations, I'm honored to introduce in alphabetical order this year's grantees. Our first recipient with a grant of $100,000 is ACLAMO. For 47 years, ACLAMO has been addressing the needs of low-income Latino communities in Montgomery County. They do this through education, wellness, and social service programs. ACLAMO prides itself on building a stronger community, one child and one family at a time. It is my pleasure to introduce Executive Director, CEO, Nelly Jimenez.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me? So, hi, everybody. First of all, thank you so much to Impact 100 Philadelphia members for have chosen us to this wonderful award. 43 years ago, a group of leaders saw a need in the community and decided to gather together and create this organization. At the beginning, it was very small and they didn't have money, but with perseverance and hard work, and now we can see that the organization has grown of what it is today. Fast forward to 2020, ACLAMO is the only full service organization in Montgomery County. And we're serving about 5,000 people, families and individuals, seniors and adults in the different programs that we have. But I wanna tell you a little bit about the stories that we see every day. Maria came to ACLAMO because she was lonely, she was scared, she was a victim of domestic violence. When she came, she sat in the chair and she didn't know what to expect. When she came and talked to our social services director gave her guidance, support. We placed her in a hotel, and then we were able to find housing for her. We did interpretation and translation services. She's now a member of the people that are coming to our health and wellness program. She's also diabetic, so we're being able to manage her diabetes through our Healthy Wednesday activities. ACLAMO see health as a holistic approach. We know that physical, mental, and social emotional is one hand in hand. So we want to make sure that people, when they come, they receive a holistic approach. We have 16 programs under 3 different departments: social services, health and wellness, and education. We also serve 2,000 people in our benefits and health insurance programs. Last year, we have 900 people in attendance for our health and wellness programs. Sometimes we see the worst when the people are low and in their worst situation. But every day, part of what I love what we do is that every day we're witness of that miracle, of that child that is learning to speak English, of that family that came and didn't have a job and now they have a job, that they can pay their bills, that they're proud of what they have achieved, the American dream that they never thought they could reach. So I want to thank everybody. I know it's hard. Sometimes I can't believe I get paid for this. This is our life. It has been very hard with COVID-19, but like our predecessors, 43 years ago, ACLAMO have adapted and have survived and actually have thrived. We continued working with families, serving and distributing food, helping seniors paying for medicines, helping our children through virtual classes. We have an amazing community, but an amazing board and a staff member. And I cannot tell you enough how much we're appreciating that you recognize our work. It is about work, but it's also about our heart and what we want to do and achieve with our community. We help them one family and one child at a time. And we thank you from the bottom of our heart to you, because this is going to make a big difference. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nellie. Next is First Up, a $37,000 grantee. With more than 50 years of service, First Up, formerly known as Delaware Valley Association for the Education of Young Children, equips early childhood professionals, families, and other adults to positively impact educational and developmental outcomes for young children. It's been shown that during a child's first 8 years, a high-quality early learning experience is critical to their social, emotional, and educational development. Please welcome Carol Austin, Executive Director of First Up.
Well, thank you so very much. Thank you so very much, Impact 100. Appreciate so much that, especially during this time that's been so challenging for all of us, having the opportunity to really celebrate here with you and celebrate, you know, with a group of women who have given their time and their talent and your treasure. And we really do appreciate your treasure to make a difference. It's great to have great things to be able to talk about. So, you know, First Up, we are, you know, education is what we're all about. We believe in the transformative nature of education. You know, the education and a high quality education can make the difference, you know, in the life of a child who then grows up to be an adult. And all of us who work there, you know, we have an educational background. My staff mostly they're former teachers, they were in a classroom, directors of programs. And, you know, there's our commitment to ensure that, you know, a child's earliest teachers, you know, their families and their teachers are able to make the difference with them. Because we know that, you know, those first 5 years, even the first 95% of the architecture of the brain is laid down during those first 5 years. And it sets the tone and the foundation for how a child learns forever. And yet at the same time, we know that, you know, without a high quality, what a high quality learning program makes available is that 45% of kids are more likely to graduate. We know that 44%, you know, of these same kids, they increase their earnings by that amount. And we know that there's a decrease in about 42% in terms of incarceration. And there's much, much more that we can talk about. But we also know that in this region, there only 36% of children have access to high quality education. You know, And I think during this time, as you know, we've been confronting what we've been confronting in this country. It's so easy to get, you know, distracted. And I started to wonder, okay, my goodness, how do we need to respond? You know, what can we do? It seems like, you know, we've been in this fight for a long time, and there certainly doesn't seem to be, you know, enough traction. And then I woke up this morning to a video from a staff member who posted on Facebook, and this will be on our Facebook page. It's too long to share with you here, where she was having a conversation with her 5-year-old child about race and about justice. And it was the best conversation, you know, ever. Developmentally appropriate. You know, he asked questions, you know, she steered him through the conversation. You know, and right there, I was like, yeah, this is what we do. This is what high quality early learning is. You know, this is about empowering families, empowering teachers to have those kinds of conversations that make a difference. This is about us paying attention to, here we have been in COVID, you know, there's trauma, you know, kids are traumatized. How do we really work with teachers to ensure that, you know, number one, they're aware of their own trauma and their triggers, and they can put structures in place? How do we work with families the same? So then they can work with these children, these earliest learners, these sponges, you know, to ensure that they're developing in a healthy way. How do we prepare these same kids to then be able to come back into programs? You know, so, you know, our work, the work that we do is really exciting. We're excited about it. We're excited about the opportunity to train teachers. We're excited about the opportunity to provide resources for families. And we're excited that, you know, every day I'm excited that I get an opportunity to do this, to impact kids at the very beginning, you know, what we've always wanted to do. So thank you so much for this. I want to ensure, you know, we shout out to teachers, all of the teachers out there who are, in, you know, in my mind, frontline workers too. You know, that the work that they do helps to create healthy, connected adults. So thank you so much, all the teachers out there, for everything you do. And thank you so much, Impact 100, for this opportunity.
Thank you, Carol. Our next grantee is Greener Partners, receiving a grant of $50,000. Since its inception in 2008, Greener Partners has become a regional leader in sustainable agriculture and innovative food access and education programs. In addition to their school and community-based work, their hospital-based programs have been an area of ongoing success. Greener Partners Deaver Farm at Lankenau Medical Center is one of the nation's first hospital-based farms. Please welcome Meg Mackerton, Greener Partners Executive Director.
Better?
Yes.
So thank you, Denise, and thank you to the entire Impact 100 board and membership for your generous support. I just want to show some slides of our work, but before I begin, I like Carolyn, want to recognize the really challenging and troubling times in our country and in our city right now, and acknowledge the structural racism that exists in the food system in which Greener Partners work. So all of our work is taking place within this unjust system. And like Carol was just mentioning, conversations about race and justice are so important right now. So I want to share some pictures of our work. So when the schools closed in the Belmont neighborhood of West Philadelphia on March 16th, Greener Partners had to cancel its farm to school programs for youth. Instead, we mobilized to fill the critical need for produce in the emergency food system. The carrots, apples, sweet potatoes, and radish we are distributing in the Belmont neighborhood can be difficult to access, but are essential in helping people stay nourished. While food insecurity surges due to COVID-19, Greener Partners has responded by distributing over 50,000 pounds of fresh fruits and vegetables to more than 9,000 people in West Philadelphia, Norristown, and Chester since March 16th. The pandemic has exposed the existing inequalities in our food system. One way this must be addressed is through food sovereignty. Growing food close to home can be transformative in our neighborhoods and for the people who we are working with, a source of self-reliance, sustenance, and strength. As soon as urban farming was deemed essential, Greener Partners began social distance growing, as well as providing seedlings, compost, and other supplies to residents to grow food in community gardens throughout Belmont, including with Francis at Hope Bridge, a permanent housing program for people experiencing homelessness. This garden and others we support will grow hundreds of pounds of nutrient-dense produce for community members. All the work we have done since the pandemic began fits right into our mission, strengthening community health through food, farms, and education. Since 2008, Greener Partners has collaborated with schools, hospitals, and community organizations to create more than 40 gardens. Our food access, youth education, and food sovereignty model is sustainable, adaptable, and able to be replicated. Impact 100's generous grant will build a legacy of food self-reliance in communities where the challenge of food insecurity continues to intensify. Greener Partners is deeply committed to the work ahead, and we are grateful to the Impact 100 community for your support. Thank you.
Thank you, Meg. Next, receiving a $100,000 grant is Mighty Writers. A recipient of numerous national and community awards, Mighty Writers serves students in grades K through 12 in Philadelphia's most challenged and historically underserved communities. With the goal of helping children to think clearly and write with clarity, it is my pleasure to introduce Rachel Loper, Education Director.
Hi, my name is Rachel Loper. I'm the Education Director at Mighty Writers. Thank you so much to the Impact 100 board and all of our members for your support of all of our Mighty Writers programs. I also have a few photos I'm going to share. Okay. At Mighty Writers, we teach kids aged 2 to 17 to think and write with clarity so that they can achieve success at school, at work, and in life. Mighty Writers works predominantly with low-income students in Greater Philadelphia, including 6 writing centers in the city of Philadelphia, and we're also in Camden and Kennett Square. We serve students through our 5 core programs: Mighty Toddlers, Mighty Writers Academy, our college and career prep, evening and weekend workshops, and our writing mentorship program. Mighty Writers gets results. 100% of our high school students graduate from high school, and 97% of them go on to college. Among our elementary and middle school students, we see between 70 and 80% proficiency in writing after just 1 year fully engaged in our Mighty Writers programs. When COVID hit, we saw our writing centers as spaces that could really offer our communities much needed resources at this time. We pivoted quickly. Starting on March 17th, we began distributing 150 meals through our existing meal program to kids and families who were able to come to our sites. We have since added diapers and produce grocery distribution through our partner Common Market at each of these 4 locations. There's 2 locations in Philadelphia. We're in South Philadelphia with Mighty Writers El Futuro, West Philadelphia in the Mantua neighborhood. We're in Camden, New Jersey, and in Chester County, we're in Kennett Square, actually just outside of Kennett Square in West Grove, Pennsylvania, working with a migrant farmer community there. Mighty Writers also moved all of our programs online. You can see some of our distribution sites there. We moved all of our programs online. We have bi-weekly emails with online resources, a weekly writing competition with a much coveted $100 Amazon gift card as a top prize, as well as all of our traditional writing workshops, moving those communities online. We are prepared to continue to offer these essential services as long as the health and unemployment crises continue. We did call our sites off today due to the violence in West Philadelphia and in Center City, but we do hope to be back tomorrow. I'll continue monitoring the news after this call tonight to make sure that we can continue to show up for our kids and families in all of the ways that we can. Our staff are truly doing amazing work right now. Thank you so much to Impact for enabling us to do this work. We really couldn't do it without you, and we are so grateful for all of the many kinds of support you offer us at Mighty Writers. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rachel. Our next grantee, Rock to the Future, is a $37,000 grantee. Rock to the Future provides transformative music programming for youth in Philadelphia's underserved neighborhoods at no cost to them or their families. Founding Executive Director Jessica Kraft started the program in 2010 with just 13 students, and today it has grown to serve hundreds of students each year. Please join me in welcoming Jessica Kraft.
Hi, good evening. It's such an honor to be here with you, and congrats to all of the finalists, and thank you so much to Impact 100 members for your work. Rock to the Future is celebrating 10 years of programming this year, and thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to share our mission with you. So I have a short video. Sorry to folks who might just be on the phone.
Rock to the Future is a music education nonprofit in Philadelphia. We provide music programs for over 300 kids and teens after school, over the summer, and during the school day. We provide our programs for free because every student deserves to rock.
Last year, I wrote a song called School Stress about like what you go through in life and stuff. School stress. Sometimes it's like the best, sometimes it's like the worst. But you need an education to get you somewhere.
On the stage, it just felt really good that people liked our music.
Rock to the Future is really about empowering, equipping, and allowing students to have the opportunity to be a holistic adult.
I think I've become more confident in myself. I think I'm better on stage.
It's a great community, and it helps people to strive for what they want to do.
Okay, stop share. Here we go. With feedback from our students and their guardians, we've launched virtual programs, are providing contactless instrument drop-offs, mailed art kits home, and have live streams around self-care, hip hop, and more. We're supporting digital literacy, providing technology, and are even paying for internet access for our students. We're checking in with families, and we're connecting them to vital resources for meals, civic engagement, and financial relief. And we're providing a space for students to connect, create, and heal through the power of music. This afternoon, our online music and art class focused on the events from the past week and provided space for students to discuss and process through listening to music and creating art. So thank you so much for your generous grant to Rock to the Future. The funds will be used to support a much needed Youth and Family Engagement Coordinator to support the direct needs of our students and their families. Wishing all of us and our communities in the city of Philadelphia health, safety, and change for a better tomorrow. Thank you again so much for your time, and congrats to Impact for this amazing transition to this virtual format. Thank you.
Thank you, Jessica. Our sixth finalist is Women's Center of Montgomery County, receiving a grant of $100,000. Women's Center of Montgomery County is a volunteer-driven, community-based nonprofit. They work to eliminate domestic violence so that individuals can live safer, more stable, and thrive. The Women's Center of Montgomery County is the 5th largest domestic violence service provider in the state, offering a myriad of educational, counseling, and supportive services. Please join me in welcoming Executive Director Maria Macaluso.
Good evening. I'm so proud to be here tonight to speak on behalf of the Women's Center of Montgomery County. We're all thrilled beyond words with the most amazing gifts you've given to us. It's more than the critical funding that you've awarded to us. It's the gifts of joy, inspiration, and confidence that began with that first email that said, "You have made it to the finals." That email arrived on May 13th when we were already 2 months into the pandemic crisis. Like the domestic violence victims that we serve, we were feeling the frustration, anxiety, and gloom of the times. Every day brought another unique crisis in our work. In addition to the daily and terrifying news about our region's health, our staff and volunteers were challenged to find new ways to help victims who are isolated and tormented, trapped in their homes with an abuser who used the pandemic to further frighten and control them. Child visitation became weaponized by abusers who threatened their children's lives with exposure to COVID-19 as a punishment. Courts were essentially closed. Hospitals were no longer a safe sanctuary to those needing medical treatment for their injuries. We watched as our community safety net was being strained beyond capacity. And in the middle of all of this came this brilliant and radiant hope with those few but impactful words: "You are a finalist." With those words, you reminded us that there is still something strong and wonderful in our community. Caring individuals who are committed to building the future, to inspiring our organizations to achieve all that we can. You gave us back through this process exactly what we needed to move forward through some dark times. You lightened our hearts and our burden. That really is the message I most want to share with you tonight. I cannot express enough our gratitude for the funding, which will do more than we could ever imagine to help domestic violence victims as they transition to safety and stability. But more than anything, I want to thank you all for the real impact you have. Over the years, we've engaged with Impact100 through site visits and events you've held. What I've learned is that it's not just about the money you give so generously. It's the time, compassion, and caring you bestow, individually and as a group. I'm not sure that you really know what your recognition does for an organization, how you elevate and motivate us to do our best. Our connection with Impact has brought us all kinds of unexpected support as you volunteered with our organization, offered resources, and perhaps most meaningfully, shared information about our organization with those in need. I can't tell you how wonderful it feels when an Impact100 member shares with me that they were affected by learning about our work. I honestly can't imagine a more dynamic group that creates such positive change in our community as Impact. For our part, we promise faithfully that we will make you proud of your investment in our mission and in strengthening services to victims of domestic violence. Your support has made us realize that we can come out of the recent months stronger than ever and ready to take on the challenges. So thank you.
Thank you, Maria. Our congratulations and thanks to all of our 2020 Impact grantees. It is their work, along with those of our other applicants, that provide the supported services needed in the Philadelphia region. To all of our grantees, my co-chair Alice Houseman and I, and the entire nonprofit liaison team look forward to working with you this year. I will now return the floor to our co-president, Carolyn Ashburn.
Thank you, Denise. Thank you, grantees. You honor us by the work you do, and I just can't think of a more meaningful production and ceremony than what you've just told us. At this time, I'd like to call on my co-president, Madge Rothenberg, Madge has been an Impact member since 2009, and this is the end of her 3rd year as co-president. So fortunately, she will stay on as past president. And as I told others earlier today, I'm kind of glad we're not at the Crystal Tea Room, because if she were standing right beside me, it would be a lot harder to say goodbye and thank you. But there are some things I want you to know about Madge. And Madge is, she is wise, she is smart, she is one of the most dedicated and conscientious people I know. And she has always set the good example. She has always taken the time to do things right. And she has really moved this organization forward. So Madge, we thank you.
Thank you, Carolyn. I'm touched by your kind words. And it's been a real pleasure serving Impact 100 alongside you these last 3 years. If I do say so myself, we've been a really good team.
Second that.
Congratulations and thank you to all 6 finalists. We know how busy you are and appreciate your spending some time with us this evening to tell us about your organizations and the vital work you're doing. I now have some important news to share with our grantees, members, and finalists. Our grantees, members, and guests. I suggest that you all turn on your video and switch your screens to gallery view so we can share this moment together. The button to change between speaker and gallery view is usually in the upper right corner of the Zoom window. So without further ado, here is the surprise that we promised at the beginning of the evening. Like most other organizations around the world, Impact 100 has adapted its operations in response to the COVID pandemic. Among other things, this spring, we replaced all in-person gatherings with online meetings and events. While going virtual had its challenges, there was a silver lining that I'm very excited to tell you about this evening. Cost savings associated with not holding in-person events has led to a significant operating surplus, and we will pass that surplus on to our 2020 grantees. So it is my great pleasure to tell you that each of the 6 finalist organizations represented here tonight will receive a supplemental award of $8,000 in addition to the grants announced earlier. Impact 100 is honored to be able to do a little bit more for our nonprofit community during these difficult times. Even as we celebrate our 2020 grantees, we are already collecting membership donations to fund next year's grant pool. And I would like to extend a big thank you to current members who have already renewed for 2021. While we hope to see a brighter tomorrow, our current struggles with COVID-19 and inequity will continue to be felt into the future. This coming year, local nonprofits will need the support of Impact 100 more than ever. Renewing your membership is one way you can help our community in this time of crisis. The more members we have, the more funding Impact 100 can provide for the organizations doing critical work in the greater Philadelphia region. Our members make the case for joining Impact better than I can myself. Thanks to our Founders Fellow, Lizzie Lee, we have this short video to share with you of members speaking about their experience.
Collaboration, respect, compassion, and passion.
First word is amazing. It's amazing. Sisterhood, like true sisterhood and support, care.
I happened to sit next to someone who was a member, and actually a fairly new member and very enthusiastic about it. And she told me about it, and we went to one of the intro meetings together, and it was, right up my alley, and has proven to be, I have to say, even more so than what I expected. I just find the process so well thought out. It's one of the best organizations that I've ever belong to.
I think what was really powerful is the idea of everyone coming together and giving a substantial gift that could really shift the trajectory of a nonprofit in a way that my $25 will never be able to do. So I started as a Founders Fellow, and now I'm a young philanthropist who's a board member, and I'm excited to become a general member when I age out of this.
Group decision-making often ends in a better decision than if something I had to do and decide all on my own, because when you share perspectives with other people, you get information you might not have uncovered.
The process, especially for probably any new members, might feel a little daunting, or it's something you don't know about because you're new to grant making, but the leadership and just the women in Impact in general always do a great job of making you feel comfortable and welcome and feel like you probably think you don't know, but that's okay because we're all doing this together anyways.
I also feel like because we were stay at home, it was even more meaningful to be a part of Impact this year, because you clearly were in a position where you were doing something, and it felt very, very good to be able to do that this year.
Okay. If you're listening and you're not yet a member of Impact 100, we would love to have you join us in collective giving. To our 451 members who supported the grants we've celebrated tonight, we hope you'll renew for 2021. Renewals have started to flow in as many members view the annual meeting as the time to re-up for the next year. This week, we heard the touching story of a young woman who decided to donate her stimulus check and used a part of it to join Impact 100 as a young philanthropist. We wanted to quickly show you how easy it is to join online. Just visit the Impact 100 Philadelphia website and click on the join button. Please also be on the lookout for upcoming emails with membership information. Together, we can make a real difference in our community. As we wrap up tonight's celebration, I would like to ask you to unmute your audio and make sure your screen is in gallery view so that we can conclude the evening together as a community. So let's raise our glasses in one final toast to our 2020 grantees and ourselves. Thank you for joining us tonight. Let's give ourselves a round of applause.
Yay.
Yay.
So much.
So grateful.
Thank you, grantees.
Thank you.
Thank you, grantees. Congratulations.
Congratulations, everyone.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Amazing.
Thank you.